Good morning, everyone. We continue here in KITZUR, HILCHOS, SHABBOS, in the laws of malabin, of cleaning and the like, begadim, garments. And he says, Litain beged lach keneged ha'esh, putting a wet beged, a wet piece of clothing, near a fire. Aser litain b'Shabbos begadim lachim, you're not allowed on Shabbos to put wet clothing, keneged ha'esh, b'makom sheyecholim lischamim. You're not allowed to put these wet clothing near a fire on Shabbos, in a place where they could end up getting heated up and warmed up, kashir yad saledisbay, to the degree of yad saledisbay, like we spoke about before in the laws of cooking. Why? Therefore, be very careful. Do not place your wet clothes, even if they're only a little bit damp. Radiator b'Shabbos. Do not put it on your radiator on Shabbos. Now, we're living here in 2026. We don't know so much about radiators, but once upon a time, and I think you could still probably find it in some older apartments, maybe in Eretz Yisrael and the like as well, a radiator was a like furnace in the middle of the house that would give off heat, and you could put things on top of there to heat up, pots to cook, clothing to warm up. And if your clothing is even a little bit damp, says the KITZUR, do not put your clothing there. Why? Hatam she'asur zeh. The reason that this is asur is mishum shenischamamu hamayim habluyim bebeged. If the water that's absorbed in the clothing gets heated up, you're going to be over, you're going to transgress the prohibition of bishul, of cooking. You're actually cooking the water that's in this garment that's not being warmed up on the radiator or near the fire to the level of yad saledis. Well, that's cooking, and therefore you have to be very careful. It's understood this is only referring to placing a wet article of clothing on the radiator or near the fire. However, a article of clothing that's completely dried, and you want to just lahasir mimenu krerusa, you want to just remove the coldness that's in that beged, in that clothing, that you would be allowed to do, to put on the radiator. There's no issa, there's no prohibition of bishul, of cooking over there. So wet clothing is an issue, because you could end up cooking the water that's inside. Dry clothing, to put it on the radiator just to remove the krerus, the coldness that's in it, so that when you put on your clothing it will be warm, you'd be allowed to. It reminds me of a story with Rabbi Feinstein. He had one of his sons was making a bar mitzvah for their son. That means the grandson of Rabbi Feinstein was being bar mitzvahed. And that particular Shabbos, Rabbi had a very big, I think it was an Agudas Yisrael convention, and he wasn't able to come to the bar mitzvah. And so somebody asked Ramosha's son, are you upset? Are you offended that your father's not coming to the bar mitzvah of your son, his own grandson? And his son said, offended? Well, do you think I don't know how much my father loves me? He says, when we were young children, growing up in the Lower East Side of New York, the winters were very, very cold. Do you know what my father used to do, the great Rabbi Feinstein? He always woke up early, and he would take our clothing and he would put it on the radiator, and he would get it all warm. And then, before he would wake us up, he would go under the covers and he would change us out of our pajamas into our warm clothing, so that when he would finally wake us up, we were already in the warm clothes, so that it was easy to get out of bed. We felt so warm and so cozy and so loved by our father. He said, you think I don't know that my father loves me? Yes, he's a servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of Klal Yisrael. He needs to be there. That's where he needs to be. The bar mitzvah will go on, and I will know, and my son, his grandson, will know how much Rav Moshe, how much our father and grandfather truly loves us. And that's what he's saying over here. To put wet clothing there, that's an issue, because that's going to be cooking, and that's going to be an issa, prohibition on Shabbos. To put dry clothes, to warm them up, so it's not so cold when you get dressed in the morning, that you'd be allowed to do. Have a wonderful day.